Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry. We were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
I think we need a little bit of this to get us in the mood for a little bit of talking about what goes on between the borders of Portugal and Spain from a man who's currently in England. We'll get our heads around that. How about that, John?
Hey, Carl.
Hi, good morning to you. You're in a somewhat sleepy-looking York, I think, this morning, and then we're playing that rousing music. Sorry if that was a little bit of an assault on your senses.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I was having breakfast when the show was starting.
Oh, and you had eggs and soldiers.
Eggs and soldiers.
Top man.
Yeah.
Top man. So, how is it, John, over there in the United Kingdom? How have you been enjoying? Tell us where you've been first of all, and we'll get some pictures up on the screen as well.
Well, I'll give you a quick rundown of our itinerary because we were here for 2 weeks total, fortnight. So 3 nights in London, 3 nights in Oxford, 2 nights in Devonshire. 1 night in Wales, 1 night in the Lake District, and then 3 nights in York, and then 1 night at the Holiday Inn Express in Luton.
Oh, amazing. What an incredible itinerary. And I did compliment you on that, didn't I? And I was like, wow, did you do all of that? And you're like, yeah. I think you've got a gift for it. I think I might have sounded a little bit patronizing when I said that to you, but it's incredible what I think you've organized there. And I give you 10 out of 10 as an Englishman on your choices there.
A tad bit ambitious, but we've been to England many times before, but 3 times. But many is more than several. So several with 3. So several times. But they've all been in London area, and so we decided, okay, look, we want to see the British countryside and take in as a lot, but I don't want to be in a different place every night. So we'll try to do 3 nights in different places, and with a couple of exceptions thrown in. Yeah. So we started off in London, and then Oxford was lovely. Oxford, there's so many things to do in central England. So we took the opportunity to get up to we stopped in Wallingford area initially. That's where what Blenheim Castle is, where
Churchill.
Yeah, Churchill, Earl of Marlborough area. Beautiful grounds you can walk around.
Yes.
It costs £35 just to park, but we didn't do that. We went into town.
They wash it for you for that?
Yeah, no. So we'd come into the gate, and it's like we don't really want to park. So is there an exit here? And he says, oh yeah, you just go into town, and then if you want to come in through the back way, there's a public access walking path. You can just walk in. And so Yeah, so we parked in town and walked in the back gate, and of course you don't have tickets to the inside, but just the grounds were immaculate, and it was just quite spectacular. So very privileged to be able to do that for free.
How lovely! And this is what the Brits do best. I mean, you're obviously getting a lot of classic England and UK, aren't you, on your trip here? Is that what are you sort of steeping yourself in the history?
Yeah, so we stopped in Stratford-upon-Avon, which is just a little bit further down the road. Of course, that's where Shakespeare was born, and his wife's beautiful little thatched roof cottage, Anne Hathaway. Stopped there. That was actually
the Bard. I think the Bard was a fairly regular visitor to Anne Hathaway's thatch, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah. So there was over 13 generations of Hathaways lived there. They were tenant farmers and then became quite successful before losing it all. But then, so lots of interesting history about Shakespeare. And he was only 18 when he got married to her. Well, actually, they had a child before getting married, and so it was. It kind of led to him being and becoming what he was, because as an 18-year-old and then married, he couldn't become an apprentice, because an apprentice, you couldn't be a married man to become an apprentice. And so being a married man at 18 already, his life choices were limited. And so going into the stage and acting was one of the things that was open to him. And the rest is history.
It so is. I mean, can you imagine that, John? Like, you're either married to your job or married to a woman in those days, Elizabethan times, Elizabethan one. He's talking to his parents, like, okay, fantastic. You've got Anne pregnant. You married at 18, and what, you want to become an actor?
Well, his choices were limited because he couldn't apprentice. Well, his father had a very successful. He was a leather worker. He made gloves and all kinds of leather goods, and so we could have had Shakespeare the Leatherman, or Shakespeare the Bard.
Well, amazing. You are clearly soaking up that British history, which has nothing to do with the Iberian Peninsula. However, there are a lot of Englishmen and women living on the Iberian Peninsula. There is that connection. I think there are about 27 million Brits living in Spain. So there is a connection. But let's dwell in the UK for a little bit longer before we talk to you about your experiences of the beauty of where you live in Portugal and the proximity to Spain. But look at this. Here you are enjoying breakfast this morning. That is like a tea room. Is that where you're staying at the moment? It's beautiful, isn't it? Are you there, John?
I'm here. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can. I'm just showing you at the breakfast table there. I'm not sure if you can see that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And of course, the obligatory full English. Can you talk us through that, John? I so want to eat that right now. No, we think we've got. I'll talk you through it, because I think John's frozen up in York, where I think he is at the moment. Look at that. We've got a fried egg, which is perched on top of the bacon, I think there. I'm hearing you again, John. I'm just talking everybody through the English breakfast. With tea. Good to see you've got tea rather than coffee there. You've got a glass of milk, which is a slightly unusual choice. That might be a slightly American twist in there.
A little bit more of a John choice. I'm a milkaholic.
Okay, all right. But you got some good sausage, toast, hash browns, a little bit of American influence going on here. The beans there, a tomato in half. We've been talking about tomatoes already. Was that good? It looks divine to me, quite frankly.
Yeah, a good old English breakfast can't be beat, but I can't eat them every day. As I was saying this morning, it's like I'm just going to get bloated if I have them every day. So I limited myself to once a week.
Yes,
at least while I'm here. So
yeah, you must. Yeah. Oh, it looks fantastic. Let's have a look at some of your pictures then. I think this was that's Wales, isn't it? Rather than
England. Wales. That's Carnarvon Castle.
Carnarvon Castle. Okay,
yeah,
beautiful.
And we stayed in that little white inn there at the foot of it.
Oh, okay. How lovely. That's a beautiful building, isn't it? Fantastic. I'm feeling a little bit homesick looking at all of this. There we go. Another aspect, I think, of the same. Is that Carnarvon as well?
That's Carnarvon, yep.
Yeah, okay. And it's fantastic, isn't it? Look at that vista. I think Coach Turner, if he's with us, will be enjoying that. I think it's a land of his fathers as well, or maybe the mother's side. But to look at this, Lake District, got to be
Lake District. Yeah, this is the West Lake District, so it's the Lake District without the lakes.
Just the district then. And these lovely mossy dry stone walls that are characteristic of that area.
So soft.
And so peaceful. It looks beautifully peaceful there. And then you set your eyes on a swelling organ, I think. Is that inside?
Yeah, this is in York Minster.
Yeah.
And I think Prince Charles will be here for Maundy Thursday, actually, as part of Easter week.
Right. So you've warmed up for the King.
We were there last night, actually, for Evensong and what do they call the 7:30 service? But anyway, Johann Sebastian Bach, sung by a beautiful choir. It was just wonderful. Yeah,
I bet. Superb. Okay, and then we're going into the streets of York, I think, here, aren't we? A scene from Harry Potter.
Diagonally.
And is that what it's based on? Is that where she got her inspiration?
Oh yeah, definitely. This is where Diagon Alley was inspired by, and they make full advantage of that with wand shops and things like that. So this was taken on a Sunday. We went there yesterday, Monday, and it was packed. So it's quite touristy, but it deserves it. So we'll let it go.
Of course. And then another view, I think.
Yeah. There's the shop that must not be named.
Isn't that beautiful? I very rarely miss the UK, but when I see these, I can almost smell the streets, and I can smell the inside of a British pub. Have you managed to have a nice pint yet, John, in England?
Oh yeah, I'm more of a confessions time. I'm more of a half pint.
Well, after bloating up on an English breakfast, there's only capacity for a half. Okay. But I mean, you have one or two halves, I take it, and just take your time, or is that all you've got the space for?
Just take my time. But I'm not a pub expert, so it took a little getting used to. Like at the Rugglestone Inn, you definitely a left foot out there when you walk in out of the blue. You walk into one of these pubs. You have to understand the Rugglestone Inn is miles from anywhere.
Yeah.
And the only roads into this place. Now, Carl used to be the mailman for this area, so that's why right. I went there. And you were how long were you the mailman there?
I don't know. I think I've done it for. I was the relief driver, so I did 3 different rounds on there, so the guys could have a day off. I was doing, I think, a 4-day week driving around the Devonshire countryside. I did that for about 18 months, I think.
Yeah, there's only one road in and out of this place. It's not a place where you drive through and then you keep going. You go there and that's where you're going, and the roads are no wider than your car, and so. You just hope that you're not running into anybody else. So we have Winnie the Pooh outside.
Winnie the Pooh, yeah, and that, I mean, this is one of my favourite pubs, and that's why I recommend it to you on the Dartmoor there, but not far from the Hound of the Baskervilles where that was set and inspired. And then you step inside to the low ceiling. When I first used to go to this pub, there were kegs behind the bar. Have they still got kegs in there, or is it all draft now?
It looks mostly draft, but it's one of the places where you walk in and everybody looks at you like, who are you?
American Werewolf in London. I think it's just like that in there.
Yeah. And they're not going to come to you to ask you what you want. They're this is where you go up to the bar and you tell them what you want, kind of thing.
Yeah. Wonderful. So it sounds like you're having a great time. Yeah, having a wonderful time over there. Give my love to my native UK. Owen is here and asking a question. This is a good one. Of course, Dartmoor there is in the southwest, but you've made your way up to York. You're in the north of England. How does the north of England compare to the north of Portugal? So let's bring it back to Portugal today.
I kind of have a hard time making that comparison because obviously I've only been here for up to the north of England for let's see, Wales, Lake District, and now so it'll be 5 days. But that's just not long enough to make a judgment call. And it's been wet a lot of the time that we've been here. But to be honest, the north of England, at least for these 2 weeks, has been much sunnier than the south of England. So I'd say the weather is better up north. But a lot of England, just in terms of impressions, sheep and the countryside is just, there's a loveliness and a gentleness about the British countryside and the farming communities and the importance that is placed on rural farming in England. At least that's from my impression as a non-Brit. Yeah. I've really appreciated it. I mean, I grew up a bit English, but overseas. So I grew up in Singapore and Malaysia, British. So I was kind of a colony raised Brit, not the mainland, not the island. So it's been great kind of learning to appreciate the island more. And interesting little side impressions here. They really love their dogs. Pretty much every restaurant that you go to is dog friendly, and dogs there. Pam jumped out of her skin a few times with dogs barking right behind her in the pub or wherever. So that was quite nice. Sidewalk walking here is a bit of a challenge.
Well, at least we've got them though, John. We have got pavements. You don't always find them in America, do you?
No, but it's the whole right-left thing, because obviously we all know that Brits drive on the wrong side of the road. So it's obviously not the right side; it's the other side. But then that correlates to how they walk on sidewalks. So you're typically supposed to be, or at least intuitively or instinctively, most would then be walking on the left when you're passing somebody. But the problem is that most foreigners that are visiting English are used to driving on the right and walking on the right. And so walking on the sidewalks is a mixture of people not knowing what side I'm supposed to be walking on. Yes. Because you can kind of tell whether you're walking towards a Brit or towards a foreigner because of what side of the sidewalk they're walking on. Yeah, and so you're playing a little bit of dodgems all the time.
Very annoying. Yes. Will you just stay in lane and decide what you're doing and don't just stop suddenly? But maybe that's
But Brits themselves are schizophrenic about it, because if you're going through the underground in London, the signs in the walkways say walk on the right.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be right. It should be walk on the left. It's like make up your own mind. So why are you telling these people to walk on the right?
The fiercely independent Brits will do their own thing anyway, and they've got a lot on their mind at the moment. And apparently, look, you've upset a Brit here. We drive on the correct or right side, says Carl Hyde, point of order, Chairman.
But literally, you're not on the right side.
Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring you back to the Iberian Peninsula. And I really appreciate you being on tour here and still tuning in and being with us this morning, John. It's fantastic. And thank you for the slideshow of England. It's been lovely for me as an Englishman to see that, or certainly to someone raised in that country. It's delightful to see those wonderful pictures. And I want to talk to you, if I may, in the last part of this, the Iberian FM phone-in, which we brought forward a little bit because we need to finish around 10 this morning. But your experiences of going to, well, whether you're Iberian or not, of course you love Portugal, and you've made.
I am Iberian.
Iberian or Iberian?
You
Iberian. Now, you've taken advantage, it would seem, of this this 2-for-1 country offer here. Was that part of your plan when you were thinking about moving to Portugal? Were you thinking, Spain is next door, I'm going to have a bit of that as well?
Absolutely was not part of the plan.
Oh, okay.
It was a pleasant side effect. So we did intend to be up north. That was our preference, plainly for geography and climate and that sort of thing. But as Tony was alluding to, it's so conveniently close to Spain, and you're right in between two international airports. So you have Porto, which is less than an hour to the south, and then you have Vigo, which is only an hour to the north.
Yeah.
And so I think Tony's right in Valença, so he's right on the Minho, right on the border. But from Ponte Lima, it's 20 minutes up to the border, and then it's just drive across the bridge, and then you're in Tui, and then find your way to the highway, and go through over the mountain to Vigo, which is down beautiful. There's coastal islands off of there. The view from up on the mountaintops down to look towards Vigo is beautiful. So like I said, it's a pleasant experience and surprise to be able to conveniently go to Spain and experience the different cultures. So yes, it is Spain, but it's also very proudly Galician, and that area of Spain known as Galicia speaks yes, they speak Spanish, but they all speak Galician as well, which is very much like Portuguese. So the Portuguese language and Galician, it used to be all one language, and so they can understand each other on that end of things. So, and they also share a Celtic heritage as well.
Interesting. And of course, you've got all the border action, haven't you? Whenever there are borders, life, I think, is a little bit more interesting, isn't it? It's like in nature, where the land meets the sea, where the forest meets the open land. Something interesting happens. And clearly you've experienced this. And that's what I want to ask you about, if I may, this morning as well, is the experience of going from Portugal into Spain. Now, some might think, okay, I better take my passport, all my documents. There may be a rigorous border control here, and I need to take my my Spanish-Portuguese phrase book and prepare myself for this journey across the border. Is that how it is?
Not at all. No,
right, in case you drive or walk across, that's it.
Yeah, the first time I came up here, I came to up to Spain was last October, and Owen was with me, and we just did it on a lark. We were going up just to play around in Valença, actually. But then it's like, well, hey, we're here, so let's just go, just see what happens. So we drove across, and it's an EU country. It's all part of Schengen zone, so there's no border control. There's no border guards or anything like that. I did need to fill up at the station there, so the petrol was a little bit cheaper. And they were speaking Spanish at the station in terms of when you're receiving your change or asking how much something is. So had to drag out a little bit of my Spanish. Of course, they just spoke English then, but one of the things, well, this is, I guess, a little bit Portuguese as well too, but one of the things that I find annoying is that almost any time that you're ready to either make a turn off of whatever road it is. So if you're just on a regular national road, or if you're on a motorway, invariably, whatever turn it is that you're about to make, there's another one just before it. And if you make the wrong one, you're in trouble. So I was trying to take Pam. So anyway, when I was with Owen, we went on this lovely mountain road that took us up and over, and then towards Vigo. And I think I sent you a picture of that. But I was trying to take Pam to the same place, and of course there's a turn off of the. So I'm trying to follow Google Maps or whatever, and so there's a turn. So unless you're really zoomed in to the micro level, you're not going to really see the difference. And so it just said, in 200 yards, make a right. And so it's like, okay, well, make a right. But of course, there's another right. That the one I was supposed to do is the next one. Yeah. So I took the right, and that put me on this freeway. And the next, there's no exit. And the next way to get off is 20 miles or 40 kilometers further. So it's like I was already halfway to Vigo on the highway by the time I could get off somewhere. So it's like, oh, I'll just forget it. We'll just go around and come back over the mountain the long way. So yeah, so it seems like whether you're in Portugal or Spain, it's the same kind of thing.
I've had that happen. Yeah. And the problem, of course, many times is how long it takes for that English woman to say the instructions. So, she'll be saying like, at the next junction of Rua Vasco da Gama, and you've already driven past it by the time she's got, she spat
get
out
on
the whole.
with it.
Yeah, that's right.
You're pronouncing it wrong anyway.
Can't slow down. Yeah, I know that feeling and how that navigation works.
Oh, I'm always cross with that Google lady because she's trying to pronounce all these street names. It's like nobody cares. It's like just tell me whether they go right or left. It's like you can't.
Let me do that again. Rua Vasco da Gama. Yes. John, this is
the name of the road's not on the street anyway. So. Exactly.
So that's something to watch out for.
Small. So
when you're negotiating Spain and Portugal, watch out, as you must do in Portugal, for sometimes a dodgy bit of Google navigation that can have you driving to Italy or France by mistake. Any other observations then? So clearly driving in and out of Portugal to Spain is not a problem. It's very easy.
It's very easy. I did have my passport with me, but that's just because I always do. But one of the things, just keeping an eye out for just geography and architecture and things, we were remarking on the way back from Vigo back to Tui, how many of the buildings were made with granite, so big granite blocks. So the entire structure of the house was in granite, which it was quite lovely. So as you know, in places in Portugal, there's homes, there's houses built with like slate, but up there was it was a very common architecture to have the whole house built with granite stone.
And that's quite outstanding, isn't it, when you see it gleaming? Because it's got sparkle to it, isn't it? It's like a bit like Devon. There's a lot of granite buildings there.
Yeah, and I think that's something that everyone should be mindful of when you're driving around different regions and places in Europe, whether it's Portugal or Spain or France or Germany. I mean, there's so many different micro regions where the architecture has an influence from this or this thing or the other, or it's whether it's a particular geographic difference or other circumstance. But there's even like in France with the Loire Valley and the type of stone that they built their palaces from is it's unique to that. So when you're going to different regions, keep your heart and your mind and your soul open to learning these things that you just might take for granted.
What lovely advice. There's a man who's traveled the world extensively, enjoying England at the moment and delighted to live in Portugal, and an accidental Iberian by the sound of it then, John. Didn't plan on being close to Spain and enjoying that, but there you go. You've got a free gift thrown in. Yeah.
And the Spaniards, the Galicians, they come down to Ponte Lima all the time. So we have a biweekly Monday market, and it's quite well known throughout the region. And so a lot of the Spaniards come down, and so it's quite a show. People driving their fancy cars and you're out having a coffee or tea or donata on the riverfront there, and you see the people driving by with their. Sometimes it's funny with we saw a fully kitted out, beautiful Packard, and you see all these old restored vehicles. So it's like a bit of a show off for them to be what in America we call it cruising, where they drive by in their fancy cars and their kitted out restored vehicles, and it's quite nice.
Amazing.
So it's not touristy in the American sense. It's sort sort of local touristy. So it's
life on the borders. It's
yeah.
life on the border, isn't it? There's just something exciting about the border where cultures meet. And you make a great point about the microcultures and what happens there, the fertile ground of cultures meeting. I love it, John. We've got to finish there this morning. Thank you so much for connecting from the UK and sharing your experiences about being a newly Portuguese resident and enjoying what Spain has to offer across the border. Gilchrist is here. Lord Gilchrist, I've considered my position on being Iberian. I'm still Portuguese, so Bi-European. That's a new demographic, isn't it? A Bi-European. Sounds like somebody, it sounds very pen-based to me, a Bi-European, doesn't it? Excellent stuff, John. Let me just share three dad jokes with you. Is that several or many? I don't know. I was sitting around. I'm surprising you with these. I was sitting around doing nothing and got arrested for impersonating a politician. Ooh, biting satire. Ooh. More of that. Last night, Sue's saying, thank you for a very interesting show. It's been very diverse this morning. Last night, I was visited by a scary ghost wearing lederhosen and playing the accordion. I think it was the poltergeist.
That's a good one.
That is a good one, isn't it? Maybe you can share that with Pam when we've finished here. Guess what, Pam? What? Have you been listening to those dad jokes? Again, my teacher told me not to worry about spelling because in the future there will be autocorrect. For that, I'm eternally grateful. Very good. Cheers, John. Where are you off to now? How are you doing the rest of your day?
We're going to do a little bit of a river cruise on whatever the local river is here. And then, they have a very large railroad museum here. So I'm a bit of a railroad buff.
Oh, York, of course they do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're going on a haunted, dark and deathly walkabout, 90-minute night walk. It's let's see.
What fun. Fantastic.
This, hold on.
We're with you.
I got the...
Look at that. The Deathly Dark Tour of York. It's Dorian Deathly's Deathly Dark Tour. Beautiful. That sounds like a lot of fun.
So you have a lot of fun ghost tours and things. So we're going to try
Sweeney Todd. Was Sweeney Todd? Oh, no, Sweeney Todd was in London, not York. Have a great day, John. Enjoy the rest of your trip in the UK. Send my love to the UK. And we'll see everyone tomorrow with the Michael Heronius Maximus, of course, on a Wednesday. Some lovely shadows falling across your room in the quaint architecture of York there. Absolutely wonderful. Love to Pam. Thank you, John. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Love you all, Dumpers. Bye.
Cheers, mate. So we'll see you. We'll see you at the Portugal Club tonight or with Michael Herron in the morning. Take care and bye for now.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.